Hey guys, I'm back again with another project. This is my 2010 Interstate Pro Series trailer. I'm going to be changing out the brakes. I'm putting a whole new brake setup on it. There's a lot of videos on how to do these. That's where I got my idea. I looked up the price versus rebuilding these brakes to replacing them with an entire new set. These cost me about 90 bucks a side, but I get everything brand new. New magnets, new springs, new shoes, new backing plate. Everything is brand new. The one big advantage for me, these are the original brakes. This is a 2010 trailer and it did not come with self-adjusters. The new brakes are self-adjusting, which helps out a little bit. It's a real pain to get up underneath and adjust these brakes every time. The reason why I'm changing them out is this actual brake right here on a recent trip was hanging up and the pad was actually getting stuck. It is a common problem from what I've researched for electric brakes. And rather than rebuild, I decided just to replace and get the upgrade. I'm doing bearings, all new bearings, seals, everything like that. I had shot this video about a week ago when I was doing the other side and the wind was just not cooperating. So as much as I wanted to show you more on this little project, it's been almost 2 weeks now and I really got to get this thing done today, and I don't have a lot of time to finish the video. I think I got a piece of video about my bearing packer. I want to show you that. I did buy a bearing packer off of Amazon. That works out really well for packing wheel bearings. I'm really particular about how I was taught and how I pack a wheel bearing. All right, I'm in the middle of my job changing the brakes on my trailer here. While I was doing that, decided all new wheel bearings, seals, the whole 9 yards, repack everything. Now, you can see right there, I bought a wheel bearing packer off of Amazon. I normally do this by hand. I normally take the bearing in my hand, put a wad of grease on the edge of my hand, and then push it through and pack the bearing. I've seen people do this the other way. Other ways, I've seen somebody just wipe the grease on the outside and then kind of rolled it around. The bearing is supposed to be packed, in my opinion, and that's the way I was taught to do it by hand, was to just press the grease a little bit at a time and just kind of nip it and it pushes up through, and then the bearing is packed. So you just go all the way around. And that's the way I used to do it. That's the way I've always done it. When I did this job and I knew I was going to be packing bearings on all four wheels on both sides, I jumped on Amazon and I got this little bearing packer. I did the one bearing that you see that's in the hub, the big bearing right there, and worked really good. So I recommend this bearing packer. It's the first time I've used it. I packed one bearing with it and it worked like a charm. So I'm going to finish packing the rest of the wheel bearings as I finish the job, and if I run into any problems, I'll let you know. But this is a pretty good idea for you guys. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy, and it's a lot cleaner than doing it by hand. I did take a shortcut. I did not remove the wheel and tire. I just pulled the whole entire hub off with the wheel attached to the wheel. And the advantage to that is it made it a whole lot easier to knock out the races and replace the races, because it gave me a stable platform to hold the hub while I was replacing the races. So that was the big advantage. I know people do it either way. I've seen it done either way. It was just a little shortcut for me. The one thing I did notice on the other side, and I'll show you here, if you look on the back of these, they give you the wires for the brakes. They do not have a covering, and they're actually really short. I wish they would have given me or put enough wire on these brakes to actually go all the way to the factory spot where they're connected, because I don't like to put splices in splices. You know, now instead of having one splice that goes from the actual magnet itself to the original spot, now there's going to be a splice behind the brake shoe. The other thing I didn't like about these is they didn't give us a nice covering. I don't know if I can get a shot of it here. The factory brake has this very nice braided covering that protects the wire. So, you know, number one, you got to cut it about midway here instead of going all the way in to where it's mounted on the frame, which would have been my preference, and it would have been my preference that it come with this nice sheath on it. So I got some wire cover, and so after I used my heat shrink waterproof connectors on the other side, I covered the wire. I taped it, and then I covered it with one of those corrugated plastic wire covers, just to keep it from rocks and debris throwing up and hitting the plastic and possibly ripping those wires out. But anyway, so that's the big disadvantage that I noticed, was just the wires. They're just bare wires. They're short. Like I said, if you need more on this, there's a ton of videos, step-by-step processes on how to do this. Like I said, that is where I got the idea. That is where I got the inspiration to do this on my trailer. I was just going to rebuild the brakes. And by the time you get the shoes and the magnet, and if you have anything else that needs to be dealt with, you know, you're pretty close to just, you know, the magnets can be anywhere from $30 to $60 a piece. Like I said, this whole brake setup was about 90 bucks, and everything is brand new. So for me, it was an easy choice. I get a little bit of an upgrade. I spend a little bit more money. 4 bolts and 2 wires, in and out. It's a very easy job. The only extra part was, like I said, I'm doing all my wheel bearings and everything like that. I did see a comment on a post. These are marked, and I'll see if I can't zoom in. It's behind that wire. These are actually marked left and right. And somebody commented on another video, and like what was left and what was right. Well, according to me, from the back of the trailer looking to the front of the trailer, it's left and right. But even more so, you look at this bar, you look at your magnet, okay? And then you just match up your new brake, the bar and the magnet in the same position on the same side. If you would put this on the other side, this bar and this magnet would be on the opposite side and not on the front but on the back. And then that would actually push the wrong shoe out first. So this one's pushing out your front shoe. And this shoe was the one I was having problems with. It was coming out and it was getting stuck. It was actually locking the wheel and causing us a lot of problems. Actually, you can kind of see there's a gap right there where it will not return. So that's the other thing. I might rebuild these and I still might have the same problem. Is the hang up in the is it in the cam? Is it here? Is it down here on the friction spots? Who knows? You know, maybe I'd get lucky. But you know, that's just electric brakes for you. So there you go, guys. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Like I said, this project's been a couple of weeks in the making, and the last video I did was pretty good, but the wind noise just ruined it. So there you go. Drop your comments, your suggestions, your disappointments. I know some people will probably say that you know, pulling the hub off and you should pull the wheel off and separate everything. I've seen people that say, you know, you just take your old brakes and you throw them in the trash. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep one maybe 2 of these that I know that are working right, and I'm going to keep them in my trailer. Because when I travel, sometimes I travel, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's absolutely no services for hundreds of miles. And if I have a breakdown, I want to have everything I need to at least try to get myself back on the road. So I travel with extra bearings, seals, grease, and tools. And then I'm also, got spare tire, of course. But I'm also going to throw 1 or 2 of these brake setups in there just in case. You never know. And then eventually what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a spare hub in there as well. So that way, just about any breakdown that I come across, I should be able to put it together enough to where I can limp it to where I can get, the adequate service that it's going to need. So there's my dog trying to get in the video. So anyway, guys, there it is. That's my personal take on this whole process. So have a good day, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, quick update. Got all the hardware mounted on the axles, as you can see. I'm just going to finish packing the wheel bearings and putting in the new seals and then button this up. Just going to give you a quick look. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the corrugated wire cover that I use just to cover up the wires and just protect them from debris. Make it a little bit harder to rip out.